Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning. A few minutes to change your life. Chanuka edition. So, we're learning the Maimon from Tifnamar Tafshin Daled Mem, 1983. That was said in Shabbos Pashas Kates, Shabbos Chanukah, Shabbos Varchim. And we're going to finish up the Maimon today, Mit Hashem. Basically, we're discussing the contrast between Chanukah, the Menorah, that we put a few contrasts between Menorah and the mezuzah. First of all, the Menorah is meant to be on the left, whereas the mezuzah is meant to be on the right. The mezuzah has to be on the house to protect the house, whereas the Menorah outside of the house is part of the house. And we said maybe it's because of the fact of the idea of Pisim Nissan, but Pisim Nissan by Chanukah is different than Pisim Nissan listed by Purim, which the Pisim Nissan, the publicizing the miracle on Purim, is inside the shul, wherever Am Hadrash Melech, whereas by Chanukah it's specifically outside. So we said, in short, it's because the whole purpose of Chanukah is to light up the darkness. It's to go to the place where it's dark, the left, the leisaser, the negative, and in there bring out the positive and show the positive. And that's why you could say one of the reasons I'm going to go on Mr. Tank, that's go into the streets, into the place where it's dark, begashus, it's dark night. That's why we light it at night. And also Baruchnius, a place that's devoid of godliness and alikus, and you go over there and you light it up. Yeah. Continuing on. Bir Inyan, second last paragraph. Bir Inyan, so the exclamation in depth. Let's understand this more in depth. This idea at the purpose of Chanukah is light up the darkness. Behold, the miracle of Chanukah was at the time of the war with the Greeks. The war with the Greeks was they wanted us to forget their Torah, to forget the Torah, and to remove us from Hashem's mitzvahs. We're going to know an explanation. What does this mean? Wasn't the main issue wasn't the learning of Torah per se, like we learned in the other Maimer. They didn't want us to learn Torah as it is Hashem's Torah and do mitzvahs as is Hashem's mitzvahs. Hashem's Ad Shamru, until to the extent they didn't want this, they asked the Yidden to write Kisvu lachem al keren hasher, write for yourselves on the horns of the ox. You have no portion in the God of Israel. That by the karbanos on the ox, you should write that you shouldn't have any portion in Israel. That's what they wanted. You have no portion in Israel. Not that you shouldn't do mitzvahs. That was and that did happen. That was the latest stage. The first stage was they didn't care about the mitzvahs. They wanted you to take away godliness from it. And another, just think about this in real terms, especially coming in regards to Kislev and the purpose of and the Chiddush of Chassidus, or the purpose of Chassidus. One of the things that Chassidus brought out is that it's the Eibishter. The person learns Torah because it's geschmack, because they gain from it and it feels good. This is not the way. It's not the ultimate way. It's good, better to learn Torah than not to learn Torah, and there's nothing wrong with having geschmack. But ultimately, we should recognize that why do we learn Torah? It's because Hashem told us, Hashem wants us to. And this is the way we connect to Hashem. And Hashem wants us to connect to Him. And through the Torah is that way. It's like, I've used this mashal a few times. We talked about it, that when I just got married, I watched some preview or something, some video. And there was a husband and wife arguing. And she was complaining to him about something, about doing the dishes, and he's like, what do you want? You want me to do the dishes? You want me to do the dishes? I'll do the dishes. So she said, I don't want you to do the dishes. I want you to want to do the dishes. And he was like, well, why would I want to do the dishes? I'm happy to do the dishes, but why should I want to? And this is the point. It's because what we want to get out of our Yiddishkeit is that we want to do what Hashem wants us to do. Because Hashem wants to do it, and we love Hashem. So whatever you want me to do, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I want to do. I want to do what makes you happy because I'm connected with you. And this is what they didn't like. Do it because it makes sense. Makes sense. If I do the dishes, I have a clean house. That's why I should do it. Just because you want me to do it, that's why I want to do it. I don't want to do it that way. And that's what the Torah mitzvah is. Why do I learn? Because it makes me feel good. That's good. It's good that it makes you feel good, and it should make you feel good. But that shouldn't be the only reason why you learn. We have to, and this is part of it could be it's a lifelong journey, but it's about recognizing there's an Eibishter, that there's a God, and Hashem has a mission for us and a reason for us being here, and He has things that He wants from us to do, and that's what we're trying to achieve. And this is what the Greeks are trying to destroy, because ultimately they saw that the Yidden were doing it not just because it makes sense, but because this is what the Eibishter wants. And this is also why they contaminated the oil in the Heichel. There was the oil and there was these drugs. They contaminated them. So what was the problem? They tried to contaminate it. And like I was on a meeting yesterday, and I was speaking to some lady, and she said, it's interesting. She said she's not Jewish, and then she said she has a menorah at home that with oil. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But so we're discussing this. I had a little Farbrengen over there, and I was discussing this concept. I said they didn't destroy the oil; they contaminated it because they wanted to get rid of that likus. And that's what we're saying. That didn't come. We think they came around in a rampage of place, and they took the oil and just like they got rid of the oil, so the oil was all over the floor. But it wasn't. The mashmalos, the way it sounds, is that they took up the seal. And they said, and meaning all the jugs were there. You had all the jugs. The only difference were the jugs, the seal was taken off. It's like, to use a simple example nowadays, it's like, when you buy something from the store, or it gets delivered to you, let's say meat, so it has like a tape, that it's a kosher tape, that if that was tampered with, it's not, you can't use it. So they would come and I'll take off all those tapes and you go eat it. I say, look, it's kosher, 100% good, there's no tape in it. Why have to be so crazy? Like, it's kosher. I didn't touch it. I swear to you, I didn't touch it. That's what it is. And this is what they did. And this is part of the miracle. And this is what to see what the Yidden were doing, that they didn't use that oil. They said, we have to find the pure oil. And through the Yidden having serious nefesh. And there's also like, Rahela was forbidding on Yitzchak Kislev about this. That we need to have Mesiras Nefesh, and Mesiras Nefesh like this in Chanuka is that you go above and beyond logic. Through this Mesiras Nefesh, we were able to overcome, even though we were a small army versus the great big army. Even though they were much stronger and more professional, and we were just amateurs. But we were able to win. The stronger in the hands of the weak. The many were put into the hands of the few. And the Zaydim and the sinners, the people that sin purposefully, in the hands of the Torah in the hands of the people that learn Torah. That the ultimate victory was the people that learn Torah. And even though we were small in number and small in strength, we were able to overcome all this. But it was through the Mesiras Nefesh that we had. Through having Mesiras Nefesh that was higher than Seder Shtashalus, through us tapping into this love within us, which is above Seder Shtashalus, we were able to overcome and to have a victory in a way that's not minus Seder Shtashalus. Meaning, when you push yourself in a way and you go above and beyond, so what you achieve is above and beyond. And we can see this specifically when it comes to the Zaydim, the wanton sinners, which means the people that sin on purpose, purposefully, in comparison to the people that learn Torah. Because when you get from Klippa, it comes free. You don't have to work for it. Like it says, like with the Yidden said, they complained. They said, in Mitzrayim we ate for free. It's not a good to have it free, but it's free. They get the chayus from a high level. Level makif, which is surrounding, which is it's a deep level, can't be even internalized, but they're able to receive from that, and it's free. Because makif doesn't care where it gives. And that's why they can also be strong and many and sin and still be successful. But and therefore, in order to win this, you have to have a very, very special, very specific Mesiras Nefesh. Because by the Yidden, only you I know. I'm going to be very strict with you. Meaning, Hashem, when you love someone, so you care about them, so you care for what they do, and it makes a difference, and you're on top of them more. When you don't care about them, so they don't care what they do. And that's the worst thing you can do for a person. But when it comes to Klippa gets bechinam, so it's able to receive a lot. Ultimately, it's not good, but in the short term, they gain a lot and they become strong, many, and they can be successful. But when it comes to the Yidden, you have to do all this effort because you have to have a specific Mesiras Nefesh, because you're coming from a specific place, because you're God's chosen. We have to work hard for it. It's not coming for free. This is the Mesiras Nefesh we need to have against the Yevonim. Love. You stand strong, and you stand strong with the test, and you overcome them. And this is all meaning that these decrees we're talking about happen in Chanukah. But nowadays, you do what the Midrash says in Shat Shuvah, all the decrees that were in those times, already finished. Will never be something like that ever again. The mizeh move on that, and this is understood. This is only then. Therefore now, now it's only spiritual. The highest to lie in darkness of the world, wouldn't have to worry. He's saying the Mesiras Nefesh don't have to go wage war physically, but it's the war of apathy, the war of no godliness in the world that we have today, and that is more prevalent than I think it probably ever was. And we have to wage this war. We have to have a specific Mesiras Nefesh to go out and also within ourselves. We have to go and work on doing a Torah mitzvahs and reminding ourselves that it's Hashem, that Hashem's in charge. And ultimately, why do I do things? Because that's what Hashem wants from me, and I want to be connected to Hashem, and not because it just makes me feel good and Torah mitzvahs feels good. It's not just. And of course, I want to make sure this is very clear. Of course, you should enjoy your learning, your Torah mitzvahs that you do, and your hidden mitzvahs, and whatever you do in regards to Judaism has to be Devas Hashem Simcha. You should be very happy. So we're not saying that you shouldn't be happy and you shouldn't enjoy. We're just saying that don't satisfy yourself with that limited perspective. Go deeper. That's what we're saying. And this is sort of what the Greeks were against. Step. If you just learn Torah mitzvahs because you enjoy it and it makes you feel good, they wouldn't have had a problem. They didn't have a problem with that. And so we want to sort of eradicate the Greeks within us and the Greek mentality. So we should go above and beyond. It's like coming to someone and say, "Why do you do this?" You say, "Oh, because it makes me feel good." So that's a very, very superficial answer. You say, "Because Hashem told me to do it." That's the depth and that's the truth of the answer. Then they'll finish it off. This is the general idea of Ner Chanukah, which is relevant to the left. Is to light up the public domain. Because the main point of Chanukah is about the war against the Greeks. So it's to light up us the darkness, us the outside. Until we nullify the field of Talmud as we explain the other Maimon, which Talmud has the same letters as rebellion. Even the feet of the Talmud. And we're going to explain, like we explained in the Maimer, the two explanations of this, based Hapirush, meaning Kalia, the two types of Kalia. The first one is Bitulam Lagamre, that you nullify them, and to the extent that you transform them to good. And I remove the bad, the wild animal from the earth. We're saying that there's two levels. One is that we nullify it, that the world around us is not against Torah mitzvahs, or within us we're not going against. We don't have opposing forces. But even more is when you take the Nefesh Bahamis and you get the Nefesh Bahamis to be involved, and he's part of the solution. Like we talked about in the last Maimer, that the Indian Mesiras Nefesh is specifically about the Nefesh Bahamis. To give yourself up is with the Nefesh Bahamis. That's what we're saying, that we have the ability, that the ability of Chanukah is to take the Nefesh Bahamis, to even take that and transform it. Ma'avirin min ha'elam, yeah. You remove from the world. You train it that it won't damage, that the wild animal won't become a wild animal. Like you take a wild horse and it goes out of control, but you control it. You take that energy that it has and you can use it. Valderech, like it says, Shamish, Gadol, Avad Min Ha'olam, a great, like a Shamish that they remove from the world. Adam, which is in our terminology, simple English, it's the idea of tshuva. The Chol Halomed Ben Amar whoever teaches a simple person Torah, I love Nemar, Im Teitzi Yakam Mizel, you take out something precious for something non-precious. You bring out deep things. The Ayidei Mailas in Shuva, meaning that through Shuva, you come out, you take the negative and you transform it into positive. Then you'll have the 7 shepherds and the 8 princes, which is related to, like we said in the last time, the 8 princes is talking about when Mashiach comes. I'm talking about the level 8 with L'mayim Sheish Tashus, which is connected with Mashiach. Shezeh Kashel Chanuka Mavur Sefer Mitzvahs. The Talmud Tzedek explains Mitzvahs Ner Chanukah, and his Maimer about Chanukah will become the Jewish Shalei, and in a few other places of the Talmud Tzedek. With Te'er, Rabbeinu Zaken, and also the Alter Rebbe, in Te'er, Bishar Eira, Admar Mitzvah, and also for the Mittler Rebbe. So the Rebbe's quoting all these different Rebbeim. The kids around the Sheikh Na'afar, and the people that are dwelling in the ground should wake up. The Hem Sechem and all their Rebbeim amongst them, the vision again with the coming Mashiach. Yavo Yigalenu will go and will take and he'll redeem us. Let's take us immediately to our land. The Hem Sechem and their Rebbeim among them. The Simcha Eila Aloisham. And all through happiness, that we should all be happy, and we should appreciate that the ability that we have, and like we said about in the Sikha that we learned after the Maimon, about the Tshuva, that Chanukah is also connected with Tshuva, that you transform the negative to the positive, and and I'll just finish it off quickly with the story of last night when I went on the mitzvah tank. I was speaking to this lady about she was saying she lights with oil after she said she's not Jewish, she was confused. So we're forgetting a little bit. So I said to her about this concept that we have this oil within us, and we have to realize that nothing that happens in our lives can touch this oil. That we can have our base of Mikdash destroyed, and that holy temple, which is meant to be holy and pure, is in ruins. But there's always something that cannot be touched, and we have to appreciate this. And she said, and we finished. She said, "Thank you so much for saying that." She says it was like she didn't say this word, but she was saying it's Hashgacha Pratis. She said, I was planning on, she was like, I was giving up. I don't know what she meant by giving up. I hope she didn't mean giving up on life, but whatever it means, giving up. And what we're saying here is we have to realize that Chanukah is the ability to transform, to take the darkness, and that's when we go out in the night, and we light in the night, and we go out in the time, we go to a dark place, we got these public places we know normally, and when we go light up the candles, because we're trying to show that we light up the darkness. The Chanukah has this ability to transform the most negative of things and the people, the most evilest of things, to light. And that's what we're doing, and that's what we have to try to do within ourselves. And a simple way of doing it ourselves is reminding ourselves before we do something, Torah or mitzvah, is saying, hey, I have the ability to connect to Hashem through doing this mitzvah now. And we should try that, and we should be successful, and we should have a great rest of Chanukah.